The commissioner of the NFL, Mr. Roger Goodell, posted a video where he, one, condemned racism, two, said that the NFL was wrong in opposing kneeling as a form of peaceful protest. He also said point blank, Black Lives Matter. Why do you think for so long, and this continues on, there's this misinterpretation of Colin Kaepernick's protest against police brutality as an insult either to the anthem or to the flag or to the military? How do you think those things got mixed in?
They get mixed in because it's a narrative that always gets pushed back by the majority of society. I mean, I've been doing this for since high school, right? And when I practiced law and did these cases, like Mr. Floyd, anytime you say anything about the police killing unarmed black men, or you're talking about all police, or you're anti-police, and so if anybody sees the Mr. Most people agree that Mr. Floyd was killed and it was unlawful, but a lot of people won't say anything because they're afraid that if they say something, that they're going to be viewed as anti-police. And that's the box that the NFL put Colin in. Go back to Muhammad Ali, man. Or go back to Tommy Smith and Johnny Carlos at the Olympics when they gave the black fist when they got their gold medals, and how ostracized they were. They were stripped of their gold medals, right? And because the narrative always gets pushed back on by people that either don't understand or just want to continue to continue these like racist themes. When Colin was kneeling, actually was sitting, and then it was a veteran that came to him and said, "Well, it'll be more respectful for you to kneel," right? It became, well, you're anti-American, or you're anti the flag, and what he's trying to show is that I'm bringing attention to a matter of black men and women being killed in the streets by law enforcement. But Jackie Robinson never stood for the flag. He's the first black person to play professional baseball, right? He never stood for the national anthem, right? Because again, I'm a veteran. My son he just got out the Marines, but spent a career in the Marines. My grandfather was in World War II, but when they come home and when we come out, we're still subjected to discrimination. And so when we hear that, and justice for all who? Right? You had black men and women who fought in World War II and came back here and got attacked for having a uniform on. You know what I mean? And so when people say, this is, you're anti-American, you're anti the flag, it's like, that's your, to you, we see it differently. But again, going back to your point, Kaepernick was not saying that he was against America. In fact, the First Amendment is the freedom to express yourself. It's the First Amendment is the free speech amendment, right? The freedom to protest. Why is that the first one? And when I exercise it, I get punished. Now they see the commissioner Goodell and they say, well, we're wrong. If you're wrong, then bring him back in the NFL. Mm-hmm. See, now we look at Muhammad Ali as a hero. That was Colin, right? And again, but when Muhammad Ali refused to be inducted into the Vietnam draft, he was vilified the same way Kaepernick was. Go back and look at it. I mean, vilified, man. I mean, he had death threats and everything. You're anti-American, all that stuff. I'm sorry, I went a little bit too far on the question.
It's all good. But no, it definitely changes the game. And now that we look 4 years after, because his initial protest was in 2016, it's now 2020. In fact, it's Wednesday, June 10th, 2020. And just this morning, the IOC, that's the Olympic Committee, specifically said they were in open talks to allow the Olympic athletes to actually protest. So they are sort of like moving in direction, which is a very positive thing.
Can I just say this, Nicholas, please?
Yes.
I think what happens in a lot of these situations is we're talking past each other, right? And so if you look at what Drew Brees over the last couple of weeks, first he came out and said, I don't care, I won't, anybody that kneels before the flag is disrespecting the flag, and he took a lot of heat for that. And then he sat down and he talked to some of the other black players because he hurt their feelings. Mm-hmm. I think Malcolm Jenkins did a video where he was crying. and explaining what, kind of like what you and I just talked about. And then Drew Brees got to see that, it's on, right. And so, but prior to that, and so Drew Brees has changed his position. Says you now understand why they were doing what they're doing, because he had an open mind. In these situations, we talk past one another.